What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another War Thunder video. Okay, we're back in the skies flying the F-84G-21-RE, otherwise known as the best starter jet in the game. That's kind of a bold claim to start off with, but I think this plane lives up to it. There are three pieces of criteria that I like to use when determining the best starter jet. Number one, of course, it has to first be the first jet available in a particular line of a nation's tech tree. Of course, the F-84 is one of three jets in the entire Italian tech tree, so that's pretty easy to get it in the short list of starter jets. But there are a few others in the other nations' tech trees that would qualify, certainly. The F-2H, the P-80, for example. But then there's a couple of other pieces of criteria that cause problems with these other planes. And the second criteria is it has to be easy to fly. We're talking about user-friendly, easy to get right into and learn. Number three is it cannot see top-tier matchmaking, and that's where you lose the F-2H Banshee. 8.0 is what the F-2H is currently slated at as far as BR. We have a 9.0 maximum BR. If you understand matchmaking, 8.0 BR will face 9.0 fairly regularly. The F-84G, on the other hand, is currently slotted at 7.7. And if you factor in the plus or minus 1.0 battle rating range for matchmaking in RB, it won't see 9.0. The maximum it can see is 8.7, and there is no 8.7. There's no 8.3 even. Gaijin has basically given up on the 8.3 and 8.7 area, and so 8.0 kind of suffers a little bit. And so most of what you will face is earlier jets. And that gets into another issue, which is, what is jet combat like? Or rather, what are people's expectations? What do they want from jet combat? They want that fast-paced adrenaline rush that you tend to think of with jets. The problem with early jets is that the engines are really subpar. They're not that much better than the high-end props at that 6.0 to 6.7 area. So a lot of the early jets are pretty mediocre. When you get up to the F-84 at 7.7, suddenly you've got a jet that has plenty of power and a lot of capability. At doing what? Going fast. That is what this thing does, and that's all it does. It doesn't turn that well. It doesn't roll especially well. It can roll out of the way from planes, but you're not going to be able to roll underneath people very well and avoid their shots. They, on the other hand, will be able to roll underneath you very easily because they tend to be a much more agile fighter. So your job is to stay fast, and if you can get this down, if you can learn to fly the F-84, you're going to be off to a really good start as far as your jet career, because most jets in the game are not that great at turn fighting. Most of them tend to use their energy, they tend to want to go fast, and that's, again, is what this thing does really well. You fly it much like the Banshee, and I did a video on this. I think my last jet video was on the Banshee, and you don't turn. You just don't turn. That's the one thing you don't do. Now you notice that I took rockets at the very start of the battle. I generally take the 24 rockets so that I can take them again later when I respawn. We'll get into that a little bit later. But I jettison the rockets, I pick up speed, and I begin to climb. Just in a slight sense, I usually get up to 3 to 4 kilometers, and that's it. In this particular battle, I got to 5K. It was too much. I ended up generating too much speed, and I had to let off the gas as we got into the battle here. At low-tier jet battles, they tend to all be at low altitudes, so you don't need to be climbing up to 5 or 6K like you will in a lot of prop games. Most of what you will see is combat happening at 2 kilometers or lower. It's actually really exciting this way. It actually reminds me more of arcade air battles. You know, just lots of furballs at low altitudes. it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of excitement. I did a little bit of a jump cut there just to eliminate some of the unimportant parts of this battle. What I've done is just stayed flying relatively straight so that I can keep my energy up, get my speed up, and come right up underneath this F2H, who doesn't appear to even understand that I was below him, shooting at him, but okay. You get a lot of kills like that, and I think part of it is the clouds. The clouds tend to restrict your ability to see below you sometimes, and so I got a lucky jump on him. And with the energy and speed that this plane is able to maintain, even stock, completely stock, this plane is excellent. I did all of my grinding in RB with the exception of just a couple of air arcade battles. I really don't recommend arcade for these kinds of jets. The 50 cals just don't do much damage in arcade. You need a lot of time on target, and you just don't often get that with planes being as maneuverable as they are. But I recommend realistic anymore. Arcade just doesn't give you the amount of RP that you really want. Now, speaking of guns, generally speaking, I usually talk about what kind of ammo I'm taking and all that sort of stuff. I've tried everything, and I haven't found any of them to be overwhelmingly better than anything else. When this plane was introduced, actually when the Italian tech tree was introduced, the default ammo was just fine. Since then, 50 cal seems to have been nerfed a little bit. I've tried everything, literally everything from default to stealth, and I can't find one or the other is infinitely better than the others. They're all kind of hit and miss as far as their effectiveness. Sometimes I swear one shot just obliterates the plane. Others you have to hit, 300 or 400 rounds just to do any kind of damage at all. In this particular video that you've watched so far, I've used universal with 600 meters conversions. A little bit later, I'll use ground targets, and it's about as effective. It's hit and miss, honestly. Now, as far as landing, I do recommend using a belly landing. You don't need to use gear. Some runways are really short. Just put it up, just slow down. Put your air brake out to slow down even more. You don't have to retract it, and just put it on the ground. You'll be repaired. You'll be auto spawned in the air. If you have rockets unlocked and added on, then you'll have them right on your plane as you respawn. And in my case, this is one of my favorite parts of this plane, is the rockets. Some matches, for reasons unbeknownst to me, some people like to run away, hide in the clouds. I don't get it. We've been over this topic I don't know how many times in previous videos. I'll never understand it. But people just delay the game forever, it seems. And so one of my favorite things to do is to use the rockets and take out tanks. Almost like that. In this particular match, Matt's from Team Think is trolling the heck out of our Arados in his B-57A, which was recently down tier to 7.0 for whatever reason. The Arados cannot catch him in the B-57. The B-57 is just too darn fast. Odds are I could catch him if I ditch my rockets, but honestly I need the RP, and I could probably get more RP from rocketing tanks than I can killing one bomber. So I just use my 24 rockets, and one by one, just slowly work my way around these columns and take out tanks. All the while, at the very tippy top of the screen, the enemy team's ticket counter is slowly beginning to bleed. And with 24 rockets, you get plenty of opportunities. You get 12 attempts to take out as many tanks as there are available. And even Matt acknowledges that this is the best way to combat what he's doing, and just rocket tanks. So this is basically all I do for the remainder of this game. But it ends up working out. I end up with 6 tank kills and a whole bunch of RP. Of course, there are some matches where things don't quite go as according to plan. Here's an F-84 who comes after me as I'm doing a rocket run, He sparks off my tail because, you know, netcode is fixed, Kappa. And I just do a series of ridiculous aileron rolls to keep him off my tail, because I know, even though I've got rockets on, the F-84 that the Americans get is not nearly as good as this thing. It's quite underpowered from what I understand. Mine is practically stock, so I can't really speak from personal experience, and he's not able to get a single hit or spark on me after that first engagement, and I ditched my rockets thinking I might get a kill on this guy, but no, Brian comes in with a little PS4 and PS4 violence and takes him out, sending him right into dirt. Very nice. Anyway, guys, my hope is that this video has enlightened you a little bit as to what the F-84 is capable of. It is primarily an energy fighter, a boom zoomer, not a turn fighter. It's capable of doing some turns, but it's really not how you want to fly it. The F-84G is an energy fighter primarily, and it's really the quintessential jet. It's all about that speed, and this thing gives it to you in spades. Anyway, guys, that's going to do it for me. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you have any comments or questions, leave them in the comment section below. Take care, guys.